KNUS Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Wednesday morning, everyone, the 9th morning of July. Peter Boyle's in for the fellows. I will take the show until Saturday, and the guys will be back on Monday morning, 710 KNUS, Denver's talk station. And here it goes. It's a record today, 100 degrees, 93 back on Thursday, 85 on Friday, Saturday, 86, and Sunday, 94 degrees. Yesterday's show was red hot. We can go back and look at some of that. But there's been a conversation we've been having on Jeffrey Epstein and the Department of Justice coming out, no client list being found, and the rest of it, no suicide, and none of it that's, of course, that holds up. Last night, for the first time in a while, I was watching the evening news on NBC, and they did an amazing piece. I would like to bring in Blake Olson with the Olson Report. So why don't we punch his magic twanger and so we can bring Blake up first. Adam, if you would.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Morning, Pete.
Hey, Bubba, good morning.
Good morning.
So I've been following this story, and I'm really intrigued by it. I'm watching people, half step and try and double back. So last night on the network, and I'm not a big network news follower, but they hit a home run. And I'd like to play it, and I want you to, if you haven't heard it, I don't know if we can watch or just hear it. But Adam, if you would, with Blake here and everybody in the audience, this was last night, and I thought it was excellent. If you would, please.
President Trump not happy getting a Jeffrey Epstein question at the White House today.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
On Monday, the DOJ released this video of Epstein's federal jail cell the night the disgraced financier died. But the time code jumps just before midnight. Attorney General Pam Bondi explaining.
And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing.
Together with the video, the DOJ issued an undated and unsigned memo confirming Epstein died by suicide and that he did not have a client list to traffic underage girls. The statement and the video triggering backlash from normally loyal Trump allies. Right-wing influencer Laura Loomer wants Bondi fired. Alex Jones saying no one is buying this. The DOJ is attempting to debunk conspiracy theories that have swirled since Epstein's death in 2019, spread in part by some administration officials, including now Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino.
That apparently 170 plus people on his client list may be outed in the coming days.
In February, Bondi was asked on Fox News about a possible client list.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
Bondi responding to that appearance today.
And my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
Helping fuel the backlash, Elon Musk. In June, he alleged President Trump was named in the Epstein files, later deleting the post. The president has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. Tonight, Musk hammering the administration, questioning how it can be trusted. For now, it seems an attempt to put the conspiracies to rest is having the opposite effect. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Peter Boyles and, of course, Blake Olson. That was last night, and to see it, it was actually very powerful. I thought the part where they double back and they show Bongino back in the day, and he's in essence saying, look, this exists. And now he's saying it does not. Bondi, of course, they come out and fire her. And while Donald Trump was speaking on the Tuesday meeting, Elon Musk ranted to Roger Stone, one of the president's advisors, accusing and talking about sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. And he goes, why should Jeffrey Epstein associate Steve Bannon try to help Robert Mueller send me to prison by perjuring himself in my trial? And goes on to say, the Musk is talking about Donald Trump is named in all of this, and so they're deep sixing it. This is it's definitely hard to wrap your brain around. So what do you think we're watching?
Right.
Yeah.
I watched it, and it was the first thing that came to mind for me was Pam Bondi needs to stop talking. Ooh. She started digging this hole.
Ooh.
What was that? 4 months ago?
Yes.
It's horrible. She created this mess, really.
Yes.
She built it up. She didn't deliver, and that's the problem. People want justice, but if you don't have it, if you don't have concrete evidence, and you go through this charade with the influencers on the internet and social media, and you don't bring him anything, you're going to pay for it. And she paid for it yesterday. She may pay for it with her job. It's just horrible. And she will not stop talking. I mean, Bongino always talks about, or he did on his show, and, I actually trust him. But he's in a horrible situation.
Yeah, I think he's compromised.
He's compromised. But he always talks about snapshots and sound bites.
Yep.
Well, she needs to listen to his advice because she does not give a good sound bite at all.
And there was a really great texter yesterday said the Dems are going to use this.
Oh, yeah.
So I find this top House Democrats demand release of Epstein files. And then they go on to say that mentioned Donald Trump.
But he's been mentioned in that for years.
Indeed.
However, it doesn't, because he was on the plane, that doesn't mean
I agree.
He broke any laws, and that goes for everyone. So therein lies the whole issue. That guy knew everyone. Epstein knew everyone and anyone. So that's why you see him around everyone, everybody with power.
I'll read it to you. No evidence has emerged to suggest Trump was connected to Epstein any more than has already been made public.
Right.
Apart from the since deleted X post by Elon Musk as he exited the White House under a cloud of controversy and accused the Justice Department of trying to insulate Donald Trump from the matter of Jeffrey Epstein. Musk is now writing, Trump is in the Epstein files, and that's the real reason it's not been made public. Now, whether or not that's true, they need to settle it.
Yeah.
They need to, and you're right about Bondi. Man, she opened one mouth and insert one foot.
My goodness. She's had more airtime on Fox than anyone probably, other than the anchors. And it is not a good look. Not a good look at all. I don't think it's relevant. We all want to find out the pedos. We all want to find out the criminals, but we all know right now it starts with the royal family. We knew that a long time
Prince
ago.
Andrew, yeah.
And then works its way down.
Bill Gates.
I'll play next hour. I'll play the. I don't know if you heard Matt Gates' interview about a month ago with Benny Johnson on social media. I think that one is fascinating. I'll play that in the 8 o'clock hour. But who knows? Who knows if we will ever find anything out? I think you and I believe that we probably will never find out.
Well, not sure. I mean, there's.
Really?
Let me read you from the wall already.
Okay.
Why are there no victims that have come forward except the one girl? Actually, there's been a lot of victims come forward.
Mm-hmm.
The one girl who named Prince Andrew.
Right.
And why hasn't Ghislaine said anything while she's in prison?
Yeah.
Pam Bondi should have been more clear with her words.
Yes.
Maybe she does need to go. The next one is, oh, and why would Elon know more than anyone else if that was true about Trump being on those files?
Yeah.
Believe me, the left would have used it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too. But it's when I watched that yesterday, and then you see that one guy makes a remark. Trump's reaction. Trump's reaction gave me more skepticism that he isn't on the list. So,
yeah, I kind of agree with that.
That is
Definitely.
And then, God, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that package that you played from NBC, the story. Actually, I didn't hear it. I didn't watch it live. I don't watch that anymore, just like you don't. But I'm listening to that, and I'm like, really, that's the most fair piece of journalism I've heard in a long time. I mean, actually, they made DJT sound pretty good. Yeah. I mean, if you listen to the raw video, it doesn't sound good because he probably should have ended it a little early. Also, his statement, it just kind of drug on.
The point that they were making was these three supporters, and actually they didn't use cash, but these three supporters have said other things as recently as a couple months ago.
Yeah, and Cash has too. All of them have.
They all have.
Yeah, I've watched hundreds and hundreds of sound bites from
Bongino,
over the past 2 years.
Bongino on his own show was saying, hey, Epstein, and now the Bannon is in the Epstein files. That's Elon Musk.
That's what Elon says.
Erupts as Trump holds cabinet meeting. You know, how would Musk know? Well, Musk would know.
He's powerful. He has a lot of money.
Thank
you.
He
knows everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
He is the wealthiest man, supposedly. Right?
Yeah, well, and it goes, while Trump was speaking at the Tuesday meeting, Musk ranted to Roger Stone. Roger Stone used to do this radio show. We haven't been able to get him back in a long time. Mm-hmm. You know,
I used to love your interviews with him.
He has
so good.
He has a tattoo of Richard Nixon on his back.
Right, I remember you talking to him
about
that.
But he's and Stone is one of the president's advisors, and he said, "Why would Jeffrey Epstein associate with Steve Bannon?" It's very good.
Interesting.
And real quick, they called him Peanut. Here, Musk said they arrested and killed Peanut.
Wait a minute. Wait, I missed that part. They called who Peanut?
Well, Peanut, it goes back to here.
Okay.
Bannon is in the Epstein files, Musk replied while offering no evidence to back up the accusation. Okay. The world's richest man also responded to posts about Epstein. Mm-hmm. The Epstein list will never be released. We've been had. Yes, Musk agreed. They arrested and killed Peanut, meaning Epstein.
Okay.
But have not tried to file charges against anyone on the Epstein client list. And now, I tell you, brother, I go back to Players and Sugar.
Yeah.
You go back to Heidi Fleiss,
right?
The madam. Remember her book?
Yeah.
Woo.
Absolutely.
So
what year was that?
Heidi Fleiss, I don't remember. I remember
the mid-90s. Now I'm losing track.
Well, I remember I read Heidi Fleiss while I was going through Players and Sugar, and I knew. I mean, not that I knew. I know there's a list, and there's more than a list.
Right.
So here, this is from the Dan Kaplis text line. Mm-hmm. Good morning from NE. I think something is up. Maybe setting up the rats.
See, I was thinking that also.
Yes.
I heard some opinions about that last night also. Yeah, it could be.
All right.
Just lay it out there, but it didn't look like it to me initially as I'm watching the press conference. But then I thought about it later, and that's a possibility. Let the mainstream media do that job, and then kind of it exposes itself.
From Caplis again, Peter, what a great chance to get rid of AG Pam Bondi.
Yes.
And give ex-Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz a shot.
Yes.
At the AG circus.
Yes, I agree.
Man.
I agree. I couldn't agree with that one more.
This is not going away, is it?
No, I don't think so. Especially because conservatives, majority of conservatives, they agree. They agree with the NBC report.
Yeah. Here's one. There were more than 45 children taken on that island.
Yes. Oh my God.
News related to Jeffrey Epstein. No client list has been found, and they confirmed the suicide. I don't believe either one.
Yep. The whole minute thing also.
That was.
Why did no one understood? No one can follow that.
No. That's James Bond stuff.
Yes. I couldn't believe she talked about that, honestly.
Yeah,
I was.
And her knuckles were like this. I watched the video. Well, the difference was there's a 1 minute missing, and Trump's sitting there looking down the table.
He gave her a chance too.
Yes.
That's the thing. To just no. We'll.
Does she make the week?
I'm telling you, if she survives this, I know nothing. I'm baffled.
I think, and
I really am.
And remember, there wasn't any video, and now there is. Here it is. The claims from the Justice Department. The finding is supported by enhanced surveillance videos.
That didn't look enhanced to me. Enhanced from what, 1830?
Yeah, no, they enhanced them.
Compared to paintings or etches, that was the worst video I've ever seen.
The Justice Department indicated no further disclosure of materials related to the investigation would be warranted. Hide and watch.
Hide and watch.
Hide and watch. You wait. This is only beginning.
Man. Yeah, it is. You're right.
Jeffrey, my man.
Oh, wow.
All right,
Unbelievable.
One more to read to you.
Yes.
I just lost him. Something I got to bring. Now I got to bring Adam in here. Let me see if I can make it come back. I can't. I lost it. It was. Wait a second. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Adam, I got it, Adam. That's pretty good.
Good job, Adam.
Good job. But that said, not sure if you all heard, but one of the Epstein Prince Andrew accusers already killed herself. Yeah, I did know that.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Man.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
We got a good show, and you're tremendous. I when I saw that last night on television, I said I can't wait to bounce this off of Blake.
I'm glad you played it because honestly, I haven't heard a 1 minute
Let's play it again.
National newscast in a long time, and it was interesting to hear it from that angle.
Do you want to hear it? For the folks. Yeah. Okay, Adam, one more time, play this from last night, please.
President Trump not happy getting a Jeffrey Epstein question at the White House today.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
On Monday, the DOJ released this video of Epstein's federal jail cell the night the disgraced financier died. But the time code jumps just before midnight. Attorney General Pam Bondi explaining.
And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing.
Together with the video, the DOJ issued an undated and unsigned memo confirming Epstein died by suicide and that he did not have a client list to traffic underage girls. The statement and the video triggering backlash from normally loyal Trump allies. Right-wing influencer Laura Loomer wants Bondi fired. Alex Jones saying no one is buying this. The DOJ is attempting to debunk conspiracy theories that have swirled since Epstein's death in 2019, spread in part by some administration officials, including now Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino.
That apparently 170 plus people on his client list may be outed in the coming days.
In February, Bondi was asked on Fox News about a possible client list.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
Bondi responding to that appearance today.
And my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well.
Helping fuel the backlash, Elon Musk. In June, he alleged President Trump was named in the Epstein files, later deleting the post. The president has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. Tonight, Musk hammering the administration, questioning how it can be trusted. For now, it seems an attempt to put the conspiracies to rest is having the opposite effect. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Peter Boyles and Blake Olson, time for the Olson Report, but it doesn't work, does it?
No, it doesn't age well either, because I hear it a second time with her saying it was sitting on my desk. There's no reason to be defensive.
Yeah, and like, I mean, with the MLK files and with the JFK file, come on.
Yes, exactly.
Please, and I mean, does anybody really believe that the Kennedy files that were released is all they got?
Oh. Right, everything redacted.
Yeah, and wait for the Dr. King files. They're not going to be pretty.
No, there's no doubt about that one.
It's time for the Olson Report.
All right,
ready, Doctor?
Thanks, Pete. I am ready, and we've had the open, so we don't have to hear that. We're expecting a high of 100 today. It's 57 right now. Beautiful morning. Heat advisory. News is presented by International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Now is the time to stand with Israel. Call 800-301-1188. That's 800-301-1188, or go to 710knus.com and click on the big red Stand with Israel banner at the top of the page. Our top story.
I had kind of fallen apart in there, but I walked out of the cabin, and a gentleman was standing there, and he said, that man over there needs a hug. And so I walked over to him, and I hugged him, and I said, do you work here? And he said, no, my little girl was in that cabin.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the death toll from the devastating flooding in Texas stands at over 100. Around 110 right now, with more than 160 individuals still missing.
And he said, and I just found her best friend about an hour and a half ago. She had passed away. And he just fell apart. And so then we just hugged and talked for probably an hour.
A man has died after trying to swim to a boat at Pruitt Reservoir in Washington County in Colorado. 2 men launched a boat at the reservoir. Another man jumped from the dock and tried to swim to the boat, but he went underwater and didn't resurface. One of the men on the boat jumped in to try to help and had to be pulled from the water after he began to struggle. The missing man's body was recovered at about 3:15 in the afternoon. 18-year-old Trenton Moscovita was booked into the Arapahoe County Jail on suspicion of sexual assault on a child and second-degree kidnapping at Pirates Cove, the water park in Inglewood, on Tuesday. He's scheduled to appear in court on July 11th. Former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey are now under criminal investigation, according to Fox News. They're under investigation, of course, for creating all the Trump-Russia stuff, garbage, the probe, and orchestrating lie after lie after lie. 47 renewing his call for a federal takeover of D.C., saying it would help reduce crime and improve how the city is run. DPD, Denver police still looking for a black SUV connected to the deadly weekend hit and run. They're looking for a 2016 Toyota 4Runner, once again a black one, Colorado license plate ARFH65. The SUV also has passenger side damage and has a CU sticker on the back of the window. The vehicle allegedly struck a pedestrian who was changing a tire on the shoulder of I-25, a southbound shoulder, on Saturday morning. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace and patio and grills, locally owned and operated since 1954. Online at lairfireplacepatio.com. 55 in Parker, 54 in Broomfield, 57 in Denver. And Pete, the legend, in for Jeff and Billy this week, and he's got a great show ahead for you today on this Wednesday. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your day weather forecast for the Denver metro area calls for a warm start to a hot day this Wednesday. Early morning temperatures well in the 60s, quickly hitting the 70s, 80s, not stopping in the 90s until probably the lower 100s for highs today. Heat advisory in effect, near 70 for a low tonight. Low to mid-90s for highs Thursday, back to the 80s for Friday and Saturday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms.
Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free, no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
And good morning, everyone. 710 KNUS, Denver's talk station. I'm Peter Boyles. On a Wednesday, the guys are back next week, 9th of July, 2025, and hot, hot, hot. It's going to be 100 degrees, 93 tomorrow, and 85 on Friday. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein and watching that, I don't know if it wasn't a press conference, it was a cabinet lineup, and it was clownish. So it really begs two questions. Why the cover-up? 303-696-1971. They're clearly, I mean, at least to me, clearly, there's something they do not want you to see or don't want you to know. When I say they, you saw that lineup. Who's sitting up there? And guys that you had respect for. Bongino. Clearly there's something they don't want you to see. Why the cover-up? And if you would read the Jeffrey Epstein stories, and I read that book about Jeffrey, and we were talking about it, Adam and I, the guy who owned Victoria's Secret gave him a house in New York, a beautiful house, for $1. Gave him for $1. Why? There's something. This isn't some playboy running a game. Why the cover-up? All these, that he was a Mossad agent, that he was working with the Saudis, that he was engineering weapons deals, everything. We need a name up there on some of the calls. Got a name? Tony in Littleton. All right. We go to Tony. You're out of the box first Wednesday morning. Ma'am, thanks for calling the show.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well, I think, everybody feels the same way, that if there is indeed a file and they're holding it, then they're simply trying to keep some information from the public. And if I think everybody's thinking, is Trump, incriminated on this file? And just logic. I don't know anything any more than anybody else, but I'll just say he'll only take so much heat from his base and to protect someone. And who might he be willing to protect? Maybe a big Republican donor, maybe. But I don't think he's got a single person on his staff that he doesn't care enough about anybody that he's going to protect anybody and take heat. The only people I think he'd take heat for is if he or his sons are incriminated in that file. Now, having said that, we know about Trump. I mean, he's done and said things that are public. We all know. I mean, we all know about the, grab him. And we know that he's bragged about going into the girls' locker room or dressing room at the pageants. We know he talked about his daughter's breast on a national radio station. We know those things about him. He's certainly got kind of a,
I think, to interrupt, what you are saying is you think this is all about Donald Trump.
Well, I think it's the only person I can come to logically that they'll protect. And the more heat that comes down, he'll sell out anybody. He might protect anybody for a while if he thinks he can keep them protected. But he's only going to take so much heat from his base, unless it's him.
Do you think Pam Bondi has a red dot on her forehead right now?
Oh, I think, I'm not going to say she's got a red dot. I'm saying she is so, this is the problem when you have an attorney general that is, completely in the tank for him, his attorney, not the nation's attorney, it's his attorney, and she'll protect him under any circumstance. She'll protect him. Now, I did want to share, I did hear one piece of information doesn't seem to be widely public, but, so about a week ago, I was listening to a podcast. Can't remember what podcast because I listened to so many. And a reporter from Politico was on there. And he was talking about information that he had been given through a source. And he described this information in the following way. He said he was shown 6 pictures of Trump at Epstein's place. He said, I'll describe two of them. He said, one was Trump sitting by the pool, and there were two very young girls sitting on his lap. They were topless. He said, the second picture was the girls are now up. There's a third girl there. They're all kind of, pointing at him and joking and kind of laughing because he has got a spot on his pants. He said, now I know nothing. I cannot say anything happened beyond that. That's all I saw. I don't know. He was very careful to say, I have no idea, no evidence that anything else happened beyond that. But that's what the photo showed. Now, I'm guessing if he's seen those photos, the Justice Department probably has those photos as well. That would be my guess.
The Justice Department official statement is, in the Epstein case on Monday, so it was 2 days ago, telling reporters that it is committed to truth and to transparency. The DOJ committed to truth and transparency. Do you believe that?
Not even a little bit. Pam Bondi's shown all the tendencies. She's protected him on every single issue. He wants a plane, and she says, "There's no problem. He can have that $400 million plane." Even Biden's attorney general put a special investigator on Biden over an issue. She wouldn't dream of doing such a thing to Trump.
I'll read you the next line. I was up late last night. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged, and again I'm reading this, at the President's direction to do an exhaustive review of all the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and death. And they put out the memo with the conclusion. And you already know the conclusion. And what the interesting thing is, listening or watching all these guys prior to their appointments to the Trump administration saying exactly the opposite. And the one guy, and he used to do the radio show with us a lot, and I really liked him, was Bongino. And I thought, and I don't know Kash Patel, I just know him by rep. Bondi's a whole separate issue. But when Bongino, and they call it going in the tank, I said, he must bite himself on the arm someplace, because he clearly was saying that that this thing is a hoax, is a fix.
Of course. Look, I don't. So, Peter, I got one more point on this topic, and I want to make it with you because I think it's important. But I don't believe any of these people. I mean, they have demonstrated that they are completely in the bag for him. We don't have a Justice Department that operates like a Justice Department under any other president. This one will protect him, as would the FBI director. All of these people are loyalists. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Nixon's DOJ and a lot of these guys. But when asked about a client list, and Bondi said it was on her desk.
Right, and now it's gone. And now there isn't one.
Yeah.
Now there isn't one. And I've heard people say, well, then why is Ghislaine, or whatever her name is, how did she wind up in prison if there were no men on the other end of that game? So, of course, there's men on the other end of that game, and I'm guessing the FBI and the Justice Department know who they are. That's just my guess.
Well, the memos, the outside memos say Epstein harmed more than 1,000 young girls. 1,000.
Yeah. Look, I want to ask you a question to get your opinion. So far, there is nothing that Donald Trump can do. Nothing that has shaken his base. I mean, it doesn't matter what norm he breaks, what law he breaks, what anything. As he said, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and my base will never leave me. And so far, that's proven true. So here's my question: if he's on that list, and he's somehow incriminated as associating with underage girls, does he lose one supporter from his base, or do they say, nah, that's okay? We're not good. That's not a big deal. What do you think?
I think when the time comes, you'll see he's already losing the supporters. They're telling you that in that news piece, that the people that are calling for Bondi's resignation, and you can see when you see that video from the day before, Bongino is really embarrassed. I mean, you can see it in his face. And Bondi, I don't think, has any problem saying any of this. But Kash Patel and Bongino, they look embarrassed. And you know, they're good soldiers,
because they had said there is they had all along said there was a list. They said, they said,
I know there's a list.
But do you think they believe that Trump is on that list, or do you think they believe just other high-ranked celebrities and officials are on it?
Let me take you back to Players and Sugar, the one story that like this I know, and then Heidi Fleiss. When everything was taking place, Scotty Ewing kept a worksheet. He kept a list. They had to know the Dun and Brads on their clients, and so when guys would call, I mean, it was a club in essence, and people would. It wasn't like, Tony from Littleton or Peter Boyles could make a phone call and say, hey, I had like a 2:30 appointment this afternoon at the Ellsworth and Lincoln prostitution home, and they don't know you. They have to get to know you, and they have to get to know your wallet, and they'd have to get to know your ability, and then you became a player in Player and Sugar, players plural and sugar. And so I know they kept a list, and don't think for a second. Matter of fact, I did some work to get ready for this. This is dated December the 10th, 2021. Epstein's address book. An address book filled with Jeffrey Epstein's contacts. One of many small blue or black books where witnesses say he kept the names of the girls and also, again, prominent figures he socialized with. I'm reading this. In some cases, accused of introducing to girls for sexual abuse. Now, I realize it's a 4-year-old story, but now I'm told to expect that none of that is true. And
right.
I just can't do
that. And you've
that.
got Donald Trump saying, I barely know him.
Well,
and there's pictures of him and them together that have been made public, that we've all seen. Forget the 6 pictures I'm talking about. We've seen countless pictures of them together.
It's only beginning.
There's also record. They even loaned each other their planes at different times. So for some reason, there was travel issues. They loaned each other their planes.
It's only beginning.
They know each other.
Thank you. It's only beginning. All right, a lot from the capless wall text line. Let me read a bunch of these. Get a pause ready. Boom, boom. I can't make the little hair. I'll make this little one work over here. I'm not good at this. This is above. Let me see. You got to make it move over. All right. Hey, Pete. I don't know all the names that might be on the list, but didn't the Dems also claim there was no list? I don't remember. Did they claim there was no list? Seems to me mighty powerful people in both parties. No, I think that's legit. 2, if Pam, I'm sure meaning Pam Bondi, has one of Epstein's clients having sex with a 17-year-old, that would be child porn. Of course it is. That's what Prince Andrew is charged with. Of course the video is child porn. She's deflecting by interfering the child porn as Jeffrey is downloading 10-year-old girls. I'm not buying any of this. Biden, and Garland would have released the Epstein files if Trump was included. It's a no-brainer. Tony hates Trump. Okay. Why is there a cover-up? I mean, first of all, A, do you believe there's a cover-up? Then 2, why is there a cover-up? And then 3, and you ask this in great cover-ups, Nixon and Watergate and other things, clearly something they don't want you to see. Clearly, there's something they don't want you to see. Vic Veal is on the show, and Ian Escalante is on the show. I have a friend coming by who said that he was approached by Jeffrey Epstein. Let's see if he comes on the show to find him young girls here in Denver. And it just doesn't add up. None of this makes sense. Why? 303-696-1971. Why? And did you see the video? We'll play the audio for you again. But if you look at Donald Trump, and you can go online, you can find that video very easily. You can watch it. He's staring straight ahead, and he's glaring, and he calls the guy a creep. So, Wednesday morning, July the 9th, first time. The lines are wide open, 303-696-1971. We ready for a break? Okay. Take a break, and we'll come back with your calls, 303-696-1971. Who do you believe? And I always went back to that throwaway joke that we all heard when we were probably in the 10th grade about the guy that comes home or the woman that comes home. The woman comes home from work early and catches her husband in bed. And he gets up, and his friend gets up, and she gets dressed, and he gets dressed, and she leaves, and he makes the bed. And then he turns around to his wife, and he said, "What are you talking about?" And she talks about what she had seen. And he said, "Wait a minute." And then the bed's made, and he's clothed up, and the woman's gone. And he said, "Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?" And here we are again. Who are you going to believe? Attorney Pam Bondi and the FBI leaders had pledged to release information about Epstein. And after President Trump returned to the White House, the files related to the Epstein case, as well as the circumstances surrounding his death, have been the subject of conspiracy theories for years. Among the speculation about the records involving Epstein, the federal government was concealing information to shield powerful, prominent figures who were allegedly named. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Denver Players and Denver Sugar. Your calls right after this. Morning, everybody, on a Wednesday, July 9, 2025. Good old 710 KNUS. We are Denver's talk station, 303-696-1971, and lines are open. We are talking, and we can play it again just in case you missed it. I was watching, and rarely watch the network news, and I saw this piece, and this story is now building, and one of the good texters yesterday said the story would have jumped ahead had it not been for the great tragedy, the rivers in Texas. By the way, the weather, super 7-day forecast, we're going to break a record today, 100 degrees, then 93 on Thursday, 85 on Friday, Saturday, 86 degrees. 303-696-1971. Do you believe there is a cover-up? Interesting words. And so why is there a cover-up? If you think, the great cover-up of Watergate, why was it? Well, it was to protect Richard Nixon. That's what it was. So why the cover-up? And if you read the stories of Jeffrey Epstein, and I read the book from the lawyer that pursued him, the owner of Victoria's Secret, those guys were on a roll, sold him, gave him, if you would, a house in New York City for $1. Gave it to him for $1. Somebody had something on somebody. Clearly, there is something that they do not want you to know. All right, let me read a couple to you if I can make the wall move. This, I'm sure, is tongue-in-cheek. DJT, the most honest and transparent leader in our history. This next one, maybe Bongino and Cash walked in on Al Capone's vault. That's pretty rough, too. We're cleaning up calls. Is that the right name to go to? And also, I have a friend sitting in studio right now who was approached by them. I got 2 minutes. Joe in Littleton, we got 2 minutes till the turn. You're on the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Peter. What makes you think that the goings-on of what Epstein did died when Epstein died? Is maybe that what they're covering up, that it's still going on?
Remember, they said Epstein was a Mossad agent. They said he was, a procurer for these famous and powerful men. The Bill Gates part of this has never, ever, ever come to surface. And remember, Gates' wife dumps him because he's hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right, exactly. And how come hasn't Epstein's girlfriend written a tell-all book?
How come she's in jail if nothing happened?
Yeah, it's sad. It is a sad time in our country, in our world.
What do you believe there's a cover-up? That's first.
Oh, of course.
All right. Clearly, there's something that they do not want you to know.
Correct.
And what would that be?
That the number of people, the names of the number of people involved in what Epstein was doing would perhaps break the whole world? Would cause...
Again, the only thing I can tell you about is my experience with Denver Players, Denver Sugar, and it dawned on me about 2 weeks into this investigation that if I thought that this was about this young city councilman, Michael Hancock, becoming mayor, I had a bridge in Brooklyn I should sell to myself. This was about the power brokers of Denver.
And the power brokers of the world.
Love the call. Got to pull it off. We come back, and I have a friend here who was approached by them. Stay here.